We live within a quarter mile, less than a quarter mile, like a tenth of a mile, of a whole bunch of organic shopping centers. And I will admit.
And I have hat like this lately, so Mom has to direct me.
Right? All right, so if you go through yogurt like my family goes through yogurt, having a little trick that makes your yogurt cost 50 cents a quart instead of $7 a quart is kind of nice, especially if you're into organic and you also would kind of like to not have a whole bunch of plastic going out into the landfill. So this is cheap milk. This is just from Aldi's, and I think it was like $2.50. If you were buying organic milk, organic goat's milk, obviously it'd be more, probably be about $8 to $12 a gallon. And this is the yogurt. It just needs to be plain yogurt. I like to use whole fat, and it doesn't take very much. This was expensive. It's like almost $2 for this little thing. But that's all you need, and you need some way to keep it warm. I love Instant Pots. This is my cuckoo. She talks to me. She's Korean. But we also have, we live in a really little apartment with a super tiny kitchen, and yet I still have 2 Instant Pots. The reason is if I want to do dinner in one of them, I can still make yogurt in the other one. We really honestly keep one just for yogurt. That's how much we love it. So this one is the Kasori. And the reason that a regular crock pot won't work is that crock pots get quite a bit warmer than what you want for yogurt. For yogurt, you want it to be just a little tiny bit warmer than blood temperature. So a little bit warmer than lukewarm. And this Kasori has an actual, let's see, which one is it? An actual yogurt setting. And with the yogurt setting, you can set it up to 8 hours, you can set it up to 22 hours. John likes to set it to 22 hours because he has a tendency to forget it. But you don't really want to turn it to warm afterwards, because if you warm on the Kasori is actually warmer than the yogurt setting. But this is fantastic. At home in the off-grid cabin in Idaho, we set it next to our wood-burning stove, and it sets that way. But if you're on grid and you don't have a wood-burning stove, this works really well. I like to use whole milk. I don't like fat-free anything. Make sure that your pot is sterilized. This one removes. And then instead of doing like a couple tablespoons of yogurt, I like to do this whole thing. I want to make sure I have plenty of start in there. There are 2 lids with the Kasori. One of them is the lid like this that pressures down and makes it a pressure cooker. And this one is the one where you can saute things. So I've got yogurt on me. You can saute things. You can do yogurt. You don't have to have the big heavy-duty lid that clips down in order to make yogurt on this one. I like that because you can kind of watch and see what's happening. So now I'm going to set it to yogurt, and it's set to 8 hours and start. And you can just see how exhausting that was. So if you save some of your starter, or if you have a powdered starter that you save, a lot of times what you can do is put your yogurt into ice cube trays and freeze them, and then put them in a plastic bag, and then you always have a starter in the freezer. Or you can just have yogurt in the fridge that you then dump some in and stir it in. So it's just the price of the milk, the price of the electricity to run the Instant Pot or the Cuckoo or the Kasori, whichever brand of multi-cooker you use. I highly recommend this way of doing yogurt. I do prefer this one to the Cuckoo because the Cuckoo is, what's it called? It's non-stick instead of stainless steel, and I really like stainless steel. So I have kimchi and sauerkraut coming up next in my little cooking world because it costs somewhere between $4 and $8 to buy a small container of kimchi or sauerkraut at the health food store, and you can buy a cabbage for $1. So you might as well make it yourself and it tastes better. So if you are interested in that kind of thing, the fermenting, I'll put a link in the description below for the Amazon lids that Catherine really likes. I haven't tried them yet, but I'm going to try them because I keep having my ferments go a little bit off. And hopefully you enjoyed this, and we'll talk to you later. So yogurt is perfectly fine on keto if it's whole fat and if you're still within your carbs. It's more about carbs than it is about the actual thing you're eating. At least that's my understanding. Obviously, a popsicle is not going to be as healthy as yogurt even if the carbs are, you know what I mean? But whole fat, full fat milk, whole fat yogurt, you can eat it on keto, just keep the amount down if you've already eaten your carbs for the day. If the milk you have is not pasteurized, if it's raw milk, which is what we have back home, you need to heat the milk up, let it cool down to the right temperature, and then keep it warm. The reason I can just put the yogurt in this one and then just turn it to the yogurt setting is because it's pasteurized, there's no bacteria in it. So, raw milk, heat it up, let it go for a few minutes, and then cool it down. Or, this is what I like to do, I get the start from New England Cheese Company that is called Creme Fraiche, and that one you can just put it directly into warm raw milk, and it's a strong enough culture, it's persistent enough that it'll outcompete all the good lovely bacteria that you have in your goat's milk or your cow's milk, and it'll set without having to heat up and cool down. Hopefully that was helpful. I'll make sure to get all the links in the description below, which would be New England Cheese Company, and what was the other one? Oh, the tops for the sauerkraut and the kimchi. I have kimchi and sauerkraut still coming up as recipes because it costs somewhere between $4 and $8 to make us. It doesn't cost that much to make it, it costs that much to buy it. Okay, let me try again. Brace myself.